The purpose of the Global CFO Council is to provide an educational and networking forum for senior financial executives in order to share best practices, discuss current financial issues, and to learn about current topics related to the performance of their jobs.
Laresa, good afternoon. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I am doing very well. I'm excited to get to talk to you. You are living in Florida, and I am from Florida, so we have that kindred connection. And I don't know about you, but I living there, I never developed like an immunity to the cold. I am weak and I am hot natured, and I get like I got to put on a jacket at 60 degrees. I don't know
Yeah,
if did you how can you handle the cold, or have you been living in Florida long enough now you
been
lost
here
it?
for 20 years, and actually, we're having a cold snap right now. It was 48 this morning, and I had the jacket on while I was having my coffee. Just a little too chilly for me right now.
Laresa McIntyre is the CFO at Skybridge Americas and got her undergraduate degree from the University of Western Ontario. I think you also got your MBA from Capital University and a Master's of Accounting from Florida Atlantic University. Is that correct?
I'm working on my master's in accounting. Haven't gotten quite yet, but I'm almost there.
I like it. Always learning. Well done. And I think you're also a CMA, a certified management accountant. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And folks, we have here before us a fellow marathon runner like myself, and I think also a magazine cover person, 2021 award winner of CIO Views magazine. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Cool magazine cover. I've never made a magazine cover.
I actually made two.
Burn. Oh, well, I have a life goal. Hashtag life goals. Laresa, let's get into this. Question number one. What is your favorite business book and why?
You know, I've read a few books, and this one's a bit of an oldie, but in my opinion, it really resonated with me. And that was the book Nuts, which was about Herb Kelleher and Southwest Airlines. Uh, they they really show in that book that when you color outside the lines in business, you can be successful. And it's not just about the status quo and living according to the usual construct of an industry, but if you're able to service other people's needs and think outside the box, there's a lot of potential for a company. And for me, that just really resonated with me when I read that book.
Amen. How true. And well, I think that translates well into question number two, which is what is the best advice that you have ever received?
Someone told me a long time ago, don't sweat the small stuff. And at the time, it really didn't mean a lot to me, but I think as you become a CFO and you get more involved in a CFO role, that really means a lot. Um, as a CFO, you have a lot of competing interests. You have a lot of issues and concerns that you have to be looking at. And if you get yourself bogged down in the minutia of everything that happens every single day and all the small stuff, you never really have time to focus on the things that are really going to make a difference for the company. And that's where don't sweat the small stuff comes in. If it is a small thing and it needs attention, delegate it. But as a CFO, you really need to be focused on the important things that are going to drive the growth of the business and drive that bottom line and make sure that your company is well positioned for success.
Larisa, what about a new tool that you've recently started using, or maybe a habit that you've recently picked up that you have found beneficial?
We, as a company, just went to Office 365 Suite probably about a year ago, and I've been dabbling in Power Automate. Uh, it's it takes a little bit of time to get used to, but if you can figure out how to take your workflow and translate it into Power Automate, it can take some of the mundane tasks out of your day so that you can focus on things that are more important. It's an interesting tool. I've had some days where I've been very frustrated with it, where it just is not coming together the way I want it to. But if you stay with it and learn it, I think it can provide a lot of benefit.
Is that similar to Power BI, or is that a different tool?
It's kind of in the same suite. Power Automate is more like the bots that you hear about in RPA. So it's more along that lines. I haven't really gotten into Power BI. I'm just kind of starting to work in that. We're getting ready for a conversion into Microsoft Dynamics. So definitely we'll be using Power BI and all of those wonderful tools. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, I love the idea of robotic process automation. I feel like it's like a macro on steroids, whereas the data doesn't always need to be just in Excel. It can be live and in multiple databases, live in multiple databases. And instead of me or you or a really high value team member doing some rote exercise, like you said, it's like this could be pretty exciting to get them off the non-value added and onto collections or something that's really critical to the strategy. So amen.
Yes, absolutely.
Speaking of that current job, Laresa, what is the best part of your current job?
You know, when I thought about this question, there were just so many things that popped into my head. I mean, Skybridge Americas, I can't say enough good things about it. I would have to say it's the people. I'm very fortunate to work with an extremely talented executive team, from our CEO to our VP of operations and our VP of sales and marketing. They're just all great people. And, although we may not always see eye to eye on everything, we have enough respect for each other to be able to have meaningful conversations that translate into good decisions for the business. And it's always good to have people that have differing opinions. I think when you get into groupthink, that's where you run into problems, because you're not bringing new ideas to the table. Everybody's agreeing with everybody else. And I could see where a business would stagnate. That's not necessarily what goes on at Skybridge, but really love working with the people. And it's not just at the executive level. It's everybody beneath as well has a real drive and dedication to trying to make the business better and making sure that we're moving in the right direction. So,
Laresa, what about something personal that you wouldn't mind sharing about yourself with the rest of the CFO Council members?
I am a huge travel bug. My family and I love to travel. Been to 31 states and 21 countries at last count. And I really enjoy the travel because it gives me an opportunity to connect with other cultures and understand the way people think in other parts of the world, which actually translates really well in business, because you have to be very open-minded and understand that not everybody's going to think the same way you do. And having that ability to understand the diversity that goes on in the world, it helps from a business perspective, because you can appreciate the way other people think.
What is the next place on your list that you'd like to go to, either US or global? If you got to just pick anywhere you haven't been, where's the place you want to go?
We were supposed to go to Vienna, Austria, just before, or we were supposed to go in April of 2020, just before the pandemic came along. We had booked everything, and then of course COVID happened. So we had to cancel that trip, but it's still on our list and still very, very much a place we would love to go.
Question number 6, last question. It happened so fast. What is something that I should have asked you, but I didn't? And what is your answer to that?
I guess the question would be, what do you think a CFO should be focused on in today's business environment? And the logical answer that most people would come up with is a CFO needs to be focused on the financials, on the bottom line, But today's CFO is so much more than just a numbers cruncher or, pardon the phrase, bean counter. We're so involved in so many other aspects of the business that really a CFO should be the sounding board for things like strategic planning and making sure that the company has the proper resources to grow and be successful. And because they're involved in not just the finance department and really sometimes get involved in more from an operational perspective, can bring that strategic plan to light, and making sure that the proper procedures and processes and people are in place to make sure it all happens.
Wow, man, you took it to the next level here, Laresa. Leader, reader, learner, lifelong learner. Impressed that you're getting another master's degree, and strategist. I may be making up a word, but I very much enjoyed our conversation. And thank you very much for taking the time to speak with me and share a little bit about yourself with the rest of the CFO Council members.
My pleasure.
Have a great day.
You too.